YouTube frogs! Hello, welcome back to another video. I want to quickly go over my thoughts on the upcoming banners because 2 hours ago, we had a sneak peek. And yes, it is light mode because I'm on incognito. Bear with me for one moment. We will switch the screen so it's not blinding your eyes, okay? In this sneak peek, we had a reveal on the banner for both the characters and the weapons, all right? So I'm going to put this on the big screen for you guys to show, and I want to give you guys my insight. Character banner. We have Kazuha, the next limited 5-star, coming out in about 3 days-ish. It's 6/29, it says here, right? Bennett, 4-star. Rosaria, 4-star. Razor, 4-star. And then for the weapon banner, we have obviously the Freedom Sworn new 5-star weapon, part of the Millennial Movement set. So this Millennial Movement set is just like the Elegy for the End and the Song of Broken Pine. So these are the two weapons that we currently have that are on this set, and they have stacking effects. So most likely, we're going to get a very long text for this weapon. Millennial Movement increases damage by 10%. When the character wielding this weapon triggers reactions, they gain a sigil. This effect can be triggered once every 0.5 seconds. It can be triggered even if the character's on the field. When you possess two, all of them will be consumed like the other weapons, right? Normal, charge, and plunging attack damage by 16% increases attack by 20%. So this is at R1. The damage by 10% is general damage, right? It's on the same column as physical or elemental damage, same type, right? So it's a elemental mastery substat weapon, so quote-unquote designed for Kazuha, even though it doesn't look the part for Kazuha, right? So 198 EM, lower base attack. 608 base attack is, I believe 46 at level 1. So this is less than 674, which is for 48. So that's the new weapon. Let's go to the character banner, right? Those of you who are planning on skipping Kazuha completely, you could still consider rolling this banner if you want Bennett or Rosaria. It's kind of weird, right? If you really want to save for Inazuma characters, it's just a fat skip. You probably don't want to risk your pity. But if you want Kazuha and you don't have the 4-star characters here, then I think this is a very solid banner. Bennett, if you joined this game during 1.5, you probably heard a lot about Bennett. Insane support. So if you're a newer player and you're like, okay, well, I got Xlice, Bennett would be a great support for her, right? Constellations for Bennett, everything is useful up to C5. C1 is useful, C5 is useful, C2, C3, C4 are less useful, but still viable. Don't C6. Listen, I know I C6 Bennett, okay? I'm gonna make this very clear. I C6 Bennett, but don't do it. Leave it at C5. It ruins so many combos. I have to do meme builds with this because when you turn melee characters into pyro damage, it fucks up everything. Just don't do it. That's why when you sell my like Eula showcase or something, my Eula was doing pyro damage when I had Bennett on. Leave it at C5. 3 levels on the Q is very valuable. This is very valuable, right? Because no longer having an HP restriction on the attack increase is very beneficial. Energy recharge, beneficial. Plus 3 levels. This one I think is the least beneficial, but I mean, it's still like not terrible, right? And then C5 gives you 3 levels on the Q, which increases the attack transfer. So that's Bennett. Rosaria. I think that Rosaria is also a very solid character to pull in terms of support for Eula, crit rate, transfer support. So most people I see, if you would pull on this banner, are likely using Rosaria in terms of like a support, like a cryo support, right? So for Constellation, this doesn't really affect her support capability, right? This is more about for her physical main DPS. C2 is just, the Q is increased by duration. So the Q lasts longer by 50%. C3 is E plus 3 levels. C4 is energy recharge, which actually is a very valuable constellation. C5 is Q levels, and then C6 is the physical resistance. So if you're running for a physical main DPS like Eula, for example, right? C6 would be valuable. For constellations on Rosaria, nothing really stands out besides C2, C4, and C6. C2, I feel like, is not really an incentive for you to pull constellations wise. If you want to get constellations for C4 Rosaria, that would be a good tipping point because this allows her to rotate her Q better. Still a great character overall though. Having a crit transfer unit right now is very nice. Her E is 6 seconds cooldown, so she fits on most team comps. And then Razor. Now, Razor is like a little different. Kind of confuses me why Razor is on this banner because Razor is a physical main DPS. If you have Razor main DPS, then you're pulling for C6. You want as many constellations as possible. But if you pull Kazuha with Razor, they don't really synergize that well. So it's kind of strange. If you have Razor and you want to pull for constellations, then go for it. You can always get multiple Bennett copies. Rosaria is a nice superconduct support for Razor. So like the 4-stars synergize here well. But if you're pulling for Razor and you manage to get Kazuha, it's kind of weird. So generally for this character banner, I would say that for newer players, Bennett and Rosaria are nice characters to add to any team comp. Kazuha, based off of what we know about Kazuha, Kazuha is likely to be like a 5-star Sucrose. support DPS increases elemental damage of your teammates, right? We'll see how he plays in terms of main DPS, but I'm not counting too much on it, right? I see him more as sub DPS. If you're rolling for Kazuha, then you got some nice 4 stars if you want to complete their constellations, and then Razor Maidens, do your thing. Everyone else who's waiting for Inazuma, skip. Weapon banner. So this weapon banner is a little strange. They added the 3 4-star weapons, like Ali Flash, Ali Hunter, and Wine and Song were recent 4 stars that were added. Twitch chat has confirmed me that is 1.4. So I'm just gonna give you guys my general feel on the weapons if you are considering rolling, like what they're beneficial for. Okay, let's start with the 4-star weapons. So Ali Hunter, this is the new standard support bow, except for Anemo. If you're doing Electro sub DPS Fischl, Ali Hunter is a great weapon. I would do Ali Hunter over Stringless, for example. Stringless I would only do for Anemo because Anemo really benefits from the EM buff that we had, 1.6. This is a very strong sub DPS, not main DPS. So this is for basically only Fischl. Who else uses this? I think it's only Venti and Fischl. Swap Comp Tartek I guess could work. Sub DPS Ganyu could work, but less valuable than Fischl Venti. I think it's mostly just for Fischl Venti. Yeah, it's an attack-based bow, and the passive is good for sub DPS. Okay, and then we move on to the Ali Hunter, which is the newer 4-star. It is a weird 4-star though. If we take a look at it, has really high base attack but really low substat. So you can see, right? 545 at level 80 is the highest a 4-star weapon's base attack has been. Like this is competing at level 90 with 5-star weapons, right? The only thing is that the substat of EM of 50 is like potato. This is basically a weapon for Bennett for attack transfer. And then if you don't have anything else to use, you could use it, for example, on Kazuha for EM. But when we get to it, likely Iron Sting may come out to be on top. We'll see. All right. But yeah, this is just for base attack for Bennett. And then Wine and Song. Okay, actually, Wine and Song is one of those. This catalyst, I think, is a little bit underrated, especially as you increase the constellations of it. For a sub DPS or main DPS, it works both ways. The lower recharge is just like a general nice substat, but the 40% attack with high base attack is actually pretty powerful. Now the question is, this weapon compared to Dodoko Tails, I think Dodoko Tails is still stronger, right? Because Dodoko Tails is charge attack base. Given that I just said that, then Wine and Song goes down in value by quite a lot. But if you don't have Dodoko Tails, then you can use Wine and Song. All right, so generally I would say Wine and Song is a decent book, but Dodoko Tails overtakes it already. So if you've been playing since the Klee event, then Dodoko Tails would be the one to go to. And then if you still haven't picked up Dragon's Bane for Hu Tao, that is who I would recommend it for. It's also available for Xiangling. If you're running Dragon's Bane Xiangling on top of the national team, Bennett Changyun, Xiangling Xingqiu, that's a viable weapon. Those are the 2 instances. And then Favonius Greatsword is a general purpose energy recharge claymore. Beidou, for example, Changyun. So based off of that, you guys can see that if you're FTP or budget, skip it entirely, right? There are some stronger weapons in this weapon banner. I'm going to be polling for 1 Freedom Swarm and 1 Skyward Atlas because I don't have either of those 5 stars. Let's talk about 5 stars really quick. So we just went over the 4 stars. Freedom Swarm. We're gonna have to see this weapon compared to Jade Cutter. If you had the option between Jade Cutter and Freedom Swarm, which would you use? Most of you are saying Jade Cutter, and that's what I would recommend as well because the 44% crit rate is extremely valuable. So this is a whale sword. Don't pull for it. Wait for 1.7 and see what we have there because I'm like with Inazuma, I feel like they're gonna add more unique weapons, right? So don't pull. Skyward Atlas. The later game that you are, the stronger Skyward Atlas is compared to Lost Prayer, right? So I don't want to go into too much detail, but Lost Prayer is a book that scales over time. As your character's on the field for longer duration, it gains stacks. That's the Lost Prayer. Skyward Atlas grants you everything the second that you're on the field. When you start attacking, you get all of the major buffs, right? And it has, I believe, 48 base attack with attack percent substat. So the better your artifacts are in granting you crit rate and crit damage, the better Skyward Atlas is. Lost Prayer is the book that would be used if you're struggling to get good artifacts because it helps you with the immense crit rate boost. But I still wouldn't recommend pulling on the weapon banner, okay? So based off of my own description of the 4-star and 5-star weapons, the 4-star weapons seem to have only few characters that would work for each specific piece. So I don't recommend. Freedom Sworn is whale weapon, right? Twitch chat was saying that Freedom Sworn is a sub DPS support 5-star weapon, and Jade Cutter is a main DPS. The thing is, we have a bunch of support sub DPS weapons. But the problem is, right, we have Favonius Sword, Sacrificial Sword, Festering Desire, right? We also have Aquila Favonia, which I would still recommend because it's high base attack, and Skyward Blade. That being said, though, I don't want to trash it too much because for whales, it's actually going to be pretty useful. This weapon for Wills is going to be pretty strong because damage by 10%, normal charge plunging attack damage by 16% for your entire team, and 20% attack at R1. At R5, it'll likely be 20% damage and then 32% normal charge plunging attack and then 40% attack. As a buffing sword, it's actually strong, but with refinements. Am I going to R5 this? I'm going to say no, but who the fuck knows what's going to happen, man? I don't fucking know. It's a one-of-a-kind weapon. You have to R5 it for research purposes. You guys better sub to my YouTube if I R5 that stupid-ass weapon. You hear that? You hear that? You better sub and like the video, okay? Before we end up this video, YouTube frogs. This weapon right here is free to play, and it's probably going to be pretty hot for Kazuha. If you manage to get Kazuha and you're looking for a sword for him that you don't have, Iron Sting. I already have mine level 80. I'm going to be testing it out. Look forward to the guide video. We'll also have my polls and everything else, okay? That's it, though. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you guys for 60k subs. If you are planning to pull for Kazuha, good luck. I'll be doing my polls on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Xlice. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.